Bamfield is seeking a new identity, and most people are seeking a second bar of cell phone reception.
I thought you meant we were going to see lions.
Good one.
People use bear bells, which tell the bear, ring-a-ding-ding, dinner is served.
When you grow up in a small town in Newfoundland, you see the people have a sense of humor about hard times.
Check.
I turned that into a career and hit the road.
Mr. Jonny Harris!
Now I'm on a mission to find the funny in the places you least expect it. Canada's struggling small towns. Towns that are against the ropes, but hanging in there. Still laughing in the face of adversity.
Welcome to Bamfield, British Columbia.
It's Canada's rugged little secret. 150 people hanging on to the ragged western edge of Vancouver Island in a once thriving fishing village called Bamfield. It's about as far west as you can get from Newfoundland without getting your socks wet.
People here like to say, when folks come to Bamfield, they never want to leave. I think that's true. I think it is due in some degree to your absolutely beautiful town. It is also due in some degree to your piece of crap logging road coming in here. The road is brutal, and you've got the logging trucks coming out, carrying the trees, tractor trailer after tractor trailer. In fact, when I got here, I was expecting fewer trees.
That's right, folks. Reaching paradise isn't easy. There's no public road into town and no road from one side to the other once you get here, because Bamfield is separated by an inlet.
Off we go.
So you ferry them from the east side to the west side here?
Yeah.
And the taxi app here works very well. If you have a smartphone, just go down by the water, put it away, and yell, "Mark!"
It's beautiful out here, Mark.
Well, it's not much of a busy day in Bamfield.
You know your commute is great if the worst road rage that you are ever subjected to is somebody yelling, "Coming up on your starboard side, friend."
Mark, when you first got here, the population was more than it is here now, right?
So many things have changed, right? What's drawn people out here has been fishing, right?
Yeah.
We've had a downturn in the local fish stocks, and now we're in not such an economical, great place. You have to make your primary income during the summer, and that's like everybody else here.
I guess a lot of your business is are tourists, right?
Mostly, yeah.
So does it get lean? Is it hard to keep the wolves at bay over the
Oh,
winter?
you bet.
Yeah.
Literally.
Mark is a sailor originally from Montana who washed up here more than a decade ago.
Ended up hurting myself,
How'd you manage that?
saving my ass from falling overboard.
So you got laid up here for a while?
Yeah, 14 years.
There was only one other boat in the whole inlet coming the other way,
It's rush hour.
and Mark said something about it being rush hour. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good joke. Turns out the name of the boat is Rush Hour.
Oh! Fishing was the financial backbone of Bamfield until the 80s. Local stocks dwindled, population followed, and now this isolated town has no bank, no restaurant, and kids have to go away to go to high school. The only real employer in these parts now is the world-famous Bamfield Marine Sciences Center, with a staff of 30 and hundreds of visiting students and academics.
Do I have any Marini weenies in the house? Any Marini weenies? Yes. The students at the Marine Sciences Center have dubbed themselves the Marini weenies.
The cool thing about the gray whale skeleton is it's actually just a baby. A gray whale is much larger when they're full grown.
Kelly Clement here, lovely young lady. She let me tag along on a student orientation.
Why is there this thing? What is it doing? What does it want?
I had a bit of a weird experience with the sea cucumber. This big, firm sea cucumber. And while it was in my hand, it went soft.
Yeah, when they start to get floppy, that means they're a little unhappy.
Kelly tried to tell me, don't worry, that happens to a lot of people. I said, not me, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Kelly began as a student here and never left. Another captive of this wonderful place.
I was supposed to be here for 4 months,
Yeah.
and I am still here 6 years later.
I can see how Bamfield would have that effect on people. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's a great spot. It's a good way to live.
I also got to meet a world-class kelp expert, Louis Drill.
In fact, I've been honored to have a kelp named after me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called Drulia fistulosa.
How much do you need to know about kelp to be the #1 guy in the world?
What's the difference between kelp and seaweed, or is it?
A kelp is a type of seaweed.
I spoke to him for about half an hour, and I think now I'm in the top 10.
It's kind of my motto, and that is, find your thing, and you look in the mirror, and there it is. I am a unique person. I know more about that one thing than anybody else in the world. That makes me who I am.
That would be pretty rewarding.
Would be.
So if finding out your thing is the road to identity, maybe this town in transition needs to figure out its thing, or at the very least, its name.
Bamfield is named after some fellow by the name of Banfield. It was not quite right, but no biggie, right? No biggie. N and M, they're pretty close to each other. As far as I can surmise, it might have been a mistake made by somebody at the Postal Service. Maybe somebody had been smoking too much marijuana.
Back in 1902, thanks to its cutting-edge transatlantic cable station, Bamfield was the beginning of the line, linking Canada to the rest of the world.
Bamfield was a landmark in communication technology. I was very excited to find that out. I was calling my friends, telling them. I was like, listen, I'm in Bamfield. It is a land of communication technology. Not so much anymore, not so much anymore. Bamfield is seeking a new identity, and most people are seeking a second bar of cell phone reception.
You get people that move here from the city and they go, what an incredibly quaint little place. Too bad it's not a little closer to the city. And that just about says it all.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
I hear you.
Went and visited over on the west side with Rose Janelle here, and her fella Ken Scarland.
Well, I never dreamed I'd have an office of my own with this view, but I got one.
When she first came, she was teaching art, and now she's a postmistress, but also farms oysters.
You'll do anything to stay here,
Yeah.
pretty much, once you get hooked.
Rose is a really lovely, well-spoken person, and Ken, well, Ken's Ken. But Ken's a great guy. He's got a great laugh, and it carries across the water. If the lighthouses ever go down, Ken can guide ships in from the ocean with his laugh, just with his laugh.
How do you enjoy spending your days out here?
How do I answer that one?
Oh, why don't you just raise your beer?
Well, yeah, there you go.
We went down to the wharf. It was boat day.
The boat's here.
Finally, the Francis Barclay.
The Francis, it's a big deal, right? Boat day is a big deal. It's the lifeline of the town.
Well, it comes 3 times a week. It brings business, it brings food, it brings friends. Hey, you guys made it.
Good to see you, Rose.
Good to see you, Mike.
And the guys on the Francis Barkley will also take things away.
You can make a bank deposit.
Oh, really?
Well, we don't have a bank here. You can give them a bag load of anything.
You can hand them a bag of anything. I get it. Welcome to British Columbia.
Despite this sort of kumbaya vibe down here, depending on a boat for everything is a hard way to live. And believe it or not, the town's divided on whether or not to make things easier.
Bamfield is a town divided, am I right? Bamfield is a town divided by something far more dire than race or religion. Bamfield is divided by an inlet. Who here is from the east side? Yes? Who here is from the west side? Why can't we all just get along?
The issue now is whether or not to pave the logging road into town and then extend it around the inlet, opening Bamfield up to the outside world.
Well, you had your pro roaders and your no roaders. Most of the people on the west side were no road because, you know, when you come to a place like this, you know you're going to have challenges.
You almost got to be crazy to live here. But
Almost.
apparently we're crazy.
If it was really easy to get to, it wouldn't have that sweet taste.
Yeah.
It's like the highest apple in the tree.
I went out to meet the man they call the governor of Bamfield.
John Evans is an old Welsh charmer living in a stone cottage. He's a real character, he's a great guy. Still has some way with the ladies, I'm told.
Good God, I've had a couple of wives. They're both dead. I didn't actually kill them, but...
For any of the men in the audience here who are wondering how he still manages to woo the ladies at his age, the answer is simple. He's way cooler than you or me.
I think we're lucky to live here. And of course, the air is so clean and full of oxygen. You have to smoke, otherwise you could die.
I'm told that you're a socialite, John, that you still host parties here?
As you know, there's no restaurant or anything, so there's a lot of going for dinner with friends.
I mean, this is a great place for a party.
John has a house made out of stone. It's his third one. First, he had one made out of straw.
And of course, the locals thought I was mad. All the rock came from the beach.
No.
I didn't even have a cement mixer. I mean, it was all hand done. God knows, I must have been out of my mind, but it was actually a hell of a lot of fun.
I can imagine. A lot of people here love the hardcore life, and for them, the road would bring change.
It's such a small, in a way, delicate place. If the road goes in from Alberni and the place fills up with RVs and things, it'll be finished.
Right.
I want my ashes fired out to sea in the cannon.
Right, I didn't mention he has a cannon.
Yes, I fire it on important occasions like Armistice Day, birthdays.
Yeah.
If I get an erection, which is an annual event, with luck.
It's a little souvenir he kept from the War of 1812.
There you go. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Good one.
Sweet mother of God. That was more of a spectacle than I thought.
But John, you know, he gave me a great quote. He said,
Bamfield is not perfect, but it's as close to perfection as I need.
but it's as close to perfection as you need. Bamfield still has a few claims to fame, and one of them is the West Coast Trail. The trail is a 75-kilometer hike, one of the go-to hiking destinations in the world. The trail's origin was they were trading paths for the First Nations. I got to spend some time with Corey and Brian. They are guardians of the West Coast Trail.
You know, is there wildlife they got to look out for, or?
Oh, yeah, there's the wolves. Sometimes we see cougars and lots of bears.
Yeah.
Lots of bears.
People use bear bells. These are little bells that you clip onto your pack, which tell the bear, ring-a-ding-ding, dinner is served.
Are you anxious about it at all? Nervous, or?
Maybe a little bit, but we're looking forward to it as well.
You got to be a serious hiker to do the West Coast Trail. You just can't be any hippie poser looking for a nature walk. You'll find yourself out there without any food, chewing on your Birkenstocks, trying to drink your own urine.
I don't know if I'd be able to do it myself. Given their cultural ties to this pristine place, it's surprising these two are pro-development.
I think in order for Bamfield to really pick up on the tourism is to get that road paved.
More tourism, however, would mean a lot more business for the last person who needs it, Donna Dunn.
Donna Dunn is the only registered nurse for miles around. Donna led us through a tsunami drill. That was intense.
I'm getting news that this is a tsunami earthquake, and we will need to anticipate that the wave could be here in 20 minutes.
Suddenly the water sucks out. If the water suddenly disappears, it's coming back. It's coming back with its friends, and you gotta scurry up a tsunami ladder. You know that surge of adrenaline you get when somebody chases you up a flight of stairs? Can you imagine being chased up a ladder by the ocean? She gets a bunch of volunteers. We all wear a sign saying what our condition is.
Okay, one at a time.
Severe chest pain. The rest of them are not even that bad.
So, you know, it could be internal bleeding or dead. You know, that's...
I don't know if Donna Dunn was ready for a Gemini-winning actor. Gemini-nominated actor.
Can you tell us your name, please?
Johnny Harris.
Okay. Are you allergic to anything?
Just house dust. I can barely breathe. I think that I'm having a heart attack.
This is what's called a 12 lead. It looks at your heart from all different angles to see if there's any blockages.
It's not just gas. Don't tell me it's just gas.
Apparently, my nothing less than inspired panic attack was less worthy than Jerry's way over-dramatized hypothermia.
What happened to you, Jerry?
Fell in the water.
Calling for air ambulance.
How long will it take them to get here?
It's about an hour.
I don't know if Jerry has that long.
Depends.
Oh.
I was very impressed, you know, in a town this size, I was sort of expecting to see people, you know, chewing on sticks as they had leeches applied to their skin.
So how are you doing, Bob?
I think I've broken my ankle. At a point, survival of the fittest, right? Bob, I mean, he's a great guy, but his leg is already broken. And Jerry, also a lovely gentleman, but he's, I don't know, the hypothermia. We'll just leave those guys. No.
No, we would never do that.
Oh.
If a tsunami hits while I'm here, I'm grabbing a life jacket and clinging on to Donna Dunn. Like grim death. That's your best bet.
So I hadn't discovered anything or hiked anything, but I did survive a fake tsunami, and that counts for something amongst the Bamfield hardcore. Bob!
I got to hang out with Brian McKay. Brian is proof that if you work hard, the sky's the limit here in Bamfield. He was here with the Coast Guard, and then on his spare time, he started building this big, beautiful fishing lodge.
This was actually, I believe it was my great-grandmother's potato patch. So.
Is that right?
A couple of young biologists came out with me on Brian's marine safari. Turns out, Brian's hosted some real celebrities.
Well, we had Tom Selleck.
Magnum PI was at your lodge.
Yeah, Tom, yeah.
And that was the day Brian realized he could never really grow a mustache.
Okay, there should be some sea lions in this little bay here. And there's a big male. You can see his head.
Oh, sea lions.
Yeah.
I thought you meant we were going to see lions.
And now he's doing very well. He took Magnum PI fishing, for God's sake. That counts for something. That counts.
Here we go.
Brian figured out Bamfield's thing.
Oh, Tom Selleck, eat your heart out.
Invite people in who will add to the love of the place.
There you go.
It's a sculpin.
And won't take away anything more than a great story.
You caught a fish.
I think I could find that in myself. If I wanted to stay in Bamfield, I got things to offer, you know? I could boil wieners, say the alphabet backwards, and take my thumb off. There. Would you have me, Bamfield? Would you have me?
The end of my journey in Bamfield was, well, unexpected.
I was invited to a ceremony on Brady's Beach, which was very gracious of the community because it was, well, it wasn't a funeral, but it was a celebration of life for a prominent member of the community, Archie McMillan. To be invited, you know, I didn't know the man personally, and the family didn't know me from Adam. So that was very sweet, and it was invaluable for me to see that
sense of community. People young and old paying tribute to one of their own who had reached his own end of the line. So you guys knew Archie, or?
I knew him since probably the 50s, family friend. He was kind of a mentor to me.
Coming here to the edge of the continent, I expected to find rugged, independent individuals, real go-it-alone types.
So many old friends and faces came back.
But I also found a strong sense of community.
You know, we love everybody in the community like family, so everybody's included for everything.
Once you're here, as isolated as it is, people have a real connection with each other. People sort of depend on each other in a way.
Yeah.
Right before I came over the hall here, my mom called me for the first time since I got to BC. She said, "How's it going out there?" And I said, "Great. I had a beer on the pier, did a tsunami drill, shot a golf ball out of a cannon, but my cucumber went soft." She said, "Jonathan, what are you talking about?" I said, "Mom, I'm talking about Bamfield, British Columbia." Thanks very much, everybody. You've been absolutely great. Oh, it's too kind, too kind.
Thanks for taking it easy on us. I think he had a lot more material.
He really captured the quintessential abstract parts of Bamfield beautifully.
I loved it before. I love it more. When he came here and he saw it, he discovered it.
It was fun being in the room with the rest of the community, just laughing at ourselves.
It was fantastic. My stomach is killing me. My contact lenses are stuck to my eyeballs and my mascara's all gone.